During a time when the jobless rate is so high, the last item someone wants to worry about is paying back their college debt. Unfortunately, this is not the case. To help erase some of this drastically growing college debt, Congressman Hanson Clark has recently proposed the Student Loan Forgiveness Act of 2012. The proposed bill would have a college graduate pay 10% of their yearly income for 10 years. After 10 years, any federal loans you have would be forgiven. This would help students and the government get out of debt. In the following graph, you can see how much student loan debt has increased over the past 30 years and continues to rise. To break this graph down into percentages, the Federal Reserve Bank of New York has shown that since 1980, college tuition has increased by 827%, and 511% of that was in the last decade alone. It is projected by the end of this year, 2012, student debt will exceed $1 trillion. In his recent 2012 State of the Union address, President Obama spoke about the rising cost of higher education.
At a time when Americans owe more in tuition debt than credit card debt, this Congress needs to stop the interest rates on student loans from doubling in July. So let me put colleges and universities on notice. If you can't stop tuition from going up, the funding you get from taxpayers will go down. Higher education can't be a luxury. It is an economic imperative that every family in America should be able to afford.
At the University of Colorado on April 24, 2012, President Obama spoke about how college debt affected his wife and himself.
We've been in your shoes. When we graduated from college and law school, we had a mountain of debt, both of us. We paid more for our student loans than we paid for our mortgage each month when we first bought our small condo in Chicago. And we were lucky to land good jobs with a steady income, but we only finished paying off our student loans about 8 years ago. Think about that. I'm the President of the United States, and that's why I need your help. I'm asking everybody who's here and anybody who's watching, anybody who's following online, you need to send a message to your member of Congress. Tell them you're not going to set your sights lower. Tell them you're not going to settle for something less. You call them, you email them, you write on their Facebook page, tweet. We've got actually a hashtag that I want everybody to use. Don't double my rate.
Here at Montclair State University in New Jersey, students are reacting to the proposed bill.
I think the proposed act is actually a great idea. I know people that have graduated over 15 years ago and they're still paying off debt. They're not able to take care of their families, anything. And I think it's a good idea. So our economy, everyone knows right now, is just completely destroyed. And we just need people that are actually graduating to be able to give back to the economy and start actually be able to purchase things, houses, cars, everything.
A lot of students currently, not only are they taking out federal loans, but they're also taking out private loans. So let's say that they are on time of making their payments for the federal loans, then they only have to worry about those large amounts that they've taken out from their private lenders. I think that overall it's going to help boost the economy because people are going to be working harder, they're going to be making sure that they're making those payments on time, but I think it might have a little bit of a negative effect in some light because it might impact the economy with those loans not being paid back to the government. So I think it's a pro definitely for the students, but I think there needs to be some more work done with considering how it's going to impact the economy overall.
I attended MSU, and I had to transfer out to a community college because the price of the college went up every year. If this bill passes, I think it can definitely influence my decision to return to a four-year school and probably many others.
At the same university, professors are sharing their thoughts as well.
I think that's an excellent idea. I hope it would get passed. I have my doubts that it will, and that's because both parties, both Democratic and Republican, have been cutting aid to higher education for a long time. And that means that they've been forcing students to take out loans. One purpose of all of this is to make money for the banks, so the banks can loan money to the students, right? I don't see that that's going to stop. Why should those people who created it stop it? I don't think they're going to. That having been said, of course, we should demand that students not be forced to graduate with crushing debt burden.
I think the purpose of education is to empower students to move forward in their lives, not to enslave them with some sort of ball and chain around their financial ankle for, into perpetuity. If somebody's paid 10%, that's a pretty high percentage for 10 years. That deserves to be recognized, and I think 10 years is enough time, at which point I would say, good, go forward and make a contribution to the economy and probably ultimately bring a lot more money to the government.
So if you want a higher education and don't want to worry about being bombarded with paying back large sums of debt for the next several decades, help pass the Student Loan Forgiveness Act of 2012. Besides visiting the following sites, do as the President said and reach out to those in the government through letters, phone calls, word of mouth, and social media. You have a voice, let it be heard.